puppetry is a lost art. When I saw it, I was like, damn. Firstly, Ramayan, okay? Secondly, in a puppetry show. I genuinely want to know what clicked in your mind and you were like, "Okay, oh my god, I want to make Ramayan plus in the puppetry only."
Basically, it's because, as you know, I live in London, and in England, Ramayana is taught as part of their religious studies syllabus in schools in class 5 and 6, or class 4, 5, and 6, a small part of it in the run up to Diwali. As they introduce different faiths, they also introduce some stories from those faiths, and Ramayana is chosen as one of the stories that is covered in Hinduism. So I have two sons who were born and brought up here. So when they were at school, they did storyboards and skits on the Ramayana. And obviously, we moved from Hyderabad, so we keep going back to India quite often. So the boys had picked up several books on the Ramayana, and they thought they wanted to write their own version. And I produced it as an hour-long audiobook with them as the narrators. Those are my two boys. And there they are. Um, So when I did the audiobook in 2016, I published it with my two sons as writers and narrators. That audiobook received raving reviews, including being featured in the Times as one of the top 10 audiobooks of 2017. And it's been chosen on British Airways and Qatar Airways for their in-flight entertainment. And to be honest, people from different walks of life and different cultural background have found that audiobook very easy to understand. It's an hour long. It's broken down into small chapters, 20 chapters, which are only less than 5 minutes long. And the boys have kept the narration quite simple. So when I saw how people had responded to the audiobook on such an epic story from India, I thought I wanted to produce a visual side to the story. And obviously, we've all seen Ramayana with people, right? And we've seen it with, like, the kids have seen cartoon versions of some parts of the Ramayana. And in Europe, just like in India, puppetry is an is an art form that is still used to communicate stories. Well, it's not as common as the mainstream cinema or cartoons, but it has its place definitely in Europe and, of course, in England too, and in the UK. And it's the same in India. So I thought if I had to convey it if I had to convey it visually, I thought puppets provided a beautiful medium because uh, that even more, I personally felt that they engage the audience even more than a people based story or a cartoon does, because as you can see, puppets do not change their expression. So what happens is the narration keeps moving and therefore their experience keeps moving, but you have to visualize that uh, uh, emotion on the puppet's face.
Yeah.
So what it does, which I felt when I was watching puppet, it draws you into it in a more comprehensive, uh, in a well-rounded way, where you are more glued to it because the puppet doesn't change its expression. So therefore, to puppets.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. As I said that I believe that puppetry is a lost art form India का. But genuinely पपेट्री एक ऐसी चीज है जो हमारा अटेंशन कैच करके रखती है, ठीक है? मतलब वी कैन नॉट मूव फ्रॉम हेयर टू हेयर। जैसे पपेट्स मूव कर रहे हैं, हमारी आंखें सिर्फ वैसे ही मूव करती हैं। हमारा जो अटेंशन स्पैन है, आई बिलीव वो बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ जाता है। लाइक आई जेन्युइनली डोंट नो व्हेन दोज 15 मिनट्स passed when I was watching it. Do you remember any story or any situation when your parents, your mom or your dadi told you about Ramayana? Do you remember anything?
You're saying, is there anything that my parents or my grandparents have said? I only saw their devotion towards the story.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that devotion, their genuine devotion, actually helped me get on with this part more easily in my style, because what I saw with them was their connect with the divinity, with the gods.
Hmm.
Whereas in my case, I connect to to the divinity through my work, through creative work. So everybody, some are into rituals, some probably have to do puja to connect with a god. For me, I connect with the divinity through these efforts. So to me, it's producing a show which I produce quite sincerely. So when I talk about each character, I think I'm very, very sincere, and I want to do justice to all the gods and the characters from the story. There's
How
no
was the
point there
journey?
because living here in London for the last 26 years, my aim is to make the story accessible to everybody across the world. So for
Yeah.
people who have not even ever heard of India, should take interest in India after seeing this show. So I don't want to complicate things. From my side, my productions will be simple, but obviously with very good language and music, and they'll be conveyed in the simplest format, but beautifully. And then to the whole world. My audience is not just India, my audience is the world.
Yeah.
So to them, I don't want to complicate matters for them because once I'm introducing the story to them, they can always follow somebody else's work, which is a little bit more complex. My aim as a producer is to produce it in a simple format, and because it's for the world. And also, yeah, for a family is to sit together. So a 5-year-old is tapping into something from the show. A 90-year-old is looking at it and thinking a little more deeply about a character. So it's for everybody. It's not just for one age group.
ब्यूटिफुल ब्यूटिफुल डू यू थिंक कि आपकी इसके आगे थोड़ा सा माइथोलॉजी में दो कदम आगे और रखना है एंड यू आर गोना स्टेप ऑन द राधा कृष्णा थिंग बिकॉज आई विल बी डेस्परेटली वेटिंग फॉर इट पर्सनल ओपिनियन
Oh, all right. That is that's a thought, but you know what? One step at a time. There's so much to do with the Ramayana. So I've been adding languages, voiceovers to my Ramayana film in different European languages. So we did a show in Rome, which was in Italian. So there's a lot that I have to do on the Ramayana before I say I can move on to another story, especially with so many audiobooks going on as well. As you can see on my wall, those are all my audiobooks. So between the audiobooks and the Ramayana puppet show, I think I am kind of engaged creatively for the next year, definitely. And then once I have delivered Ramayana the way I wanted, and it's there. Prerna, I also wanted to bring there are two songs associated with the production. There's an opening song and a closing song.
Hear a voice in the night saying all is overcome.
So again, growing up in India, I had heard lots of bhajans and lots of in different languages on Ram, Sita, on several different gods from India, Hinduism, right?
Yeah.
I always wondered how a song on the Ramayana in English would sound. So and obviously with Bollywood, growing up with Bollywood or cinema in India, where song and dance is an essential part of storytelling, for me it was important that I had an opening song and a closing song. So I reached out to two young singer-songwriters in London. One of them is Sachi Sen, a very, very absolutely riveting singer-songwriter. She wrote the opening song in English for a production called Ram and Sita, where uh, it's about Ram's love for Sita that is conveyed in that song.
Work from dusk till dawn, 'cause I have to build a bridge right over here. We'll succeed in our endeavor, 'cause I have to build a bridge to you. Sa sa ba ba ga re sa re ga re.
And I also always wondered how a non-Indian would respond to the story of to Ramayana, and if they were asked to write a song, which aspect would they tap into? And Avi Simmons again is a singer-songwriter who's British, has no Indian origin. So she heard the Ramayana audiobook, and then she wrote the closing song, which is Light the Lamps.
There's a cry of hope fired into the dark like an arrow flies.
Absolutely fantastic. Both the songs are riveting. So these are the opening and closing songs of my production. So please do hear them out. So with regards to reaching me out, it's best to go to storyhour.co.uk, where links to my social media channels as well as YouTube are all up there, and everything in the right order. So people who want to follow me, they can go from one story to the other seamlessly and explore it. Then they can subscribe. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Once you have gone through Story Hour, you will land on my YouTube channel. Please do subscribe because I'm working on producing more and more content, and support and subscriptions are all absolutely crucial because what you see on my website is all free. These are huge productions, whether it's the audiobook or the puppet show. On my website, all the links are there. You will love it.
I am definitely gonna check this, and I genuinely say to other people, आप भी जाकर के देखो. Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving us your time. It was lovely talking to you.
Thank you, Chris.